Creps&Cards Show, episode 7. Hope you've been keeping well. We've had a little bit of a hiatus, illness, travel, a few other things, but we're back, hopefully with a bang. Getting into it, we'll start off with a spicy topic. I know we've got differing views on this. And the topic is Manchester United. Are they better with Ronaldo or better without? As I say, I know we've had some differing views on it, so I'll let Mahfouz kick off, being our resident United fan.
Expert.
Mahfouz, Manchester United, either better with or without Ronaldo?
Hi everyone. Good to hear from you guys. Well, as you guys know, ever since Ronaldo went to United back in 2003, I don't know if you guys, Mustafa, isn't always remember, I told you this guy would be the best player in the world, and then you guys used to always spit out no end product.
Well, Roy Keane mentioned the same thing. Roy Keane mentioned the same thing, and I think at the very, very early start of his career, admittedly we were wrong, but there was a clamour to say that Ronaldo was all style and no substance, and there wasn't any end product.
No, but ever since that first time I saw him, I think it was the first time I ever saw him was on Football Focus, where they showed that friendly of Sporting Lisbon against United, and United have signed him, and I just saw him and I was in awe of the talent, and I thought, this guy will make it. It brought many happy memories. Through that first stint, even through the second stint last year, I was so happy to have him back. Scored, a good amount of goals in a very awful side of United, admittedly. But this season, unfortunately, obviously, he's had his issues, from the last season, obviously with his child passing away, and he wasn't here for pre-season. And the thing is, the way Ten Hag plays, and the way he has been playing without Ronaldo has been completely different. Unfortunately, Ronaldo hasn't, I don't know whether it's his age that has finally caught up to him, or it's the lack of match fitness due to no pre-season, not getting enough minutes as well. So, as much as I love Ronaldo, I've loved him, through the beginning of his career towards the end. I still will whenever he does leave. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, I think United are doing a lot more better without him, and they seem to have more of a game plan when they play without him. As in, okay, Marcus Rashford doesn't have the best finishing, even though he should have scored at least a couple of goals from the last 2 games. But the style of play is completely different. Where against Newcastle, when Ronaldo did start, I could see that when the passes were coming to Fernandes, Sancho, I could see them just constantly trying to pass to him, which kind of the flow of the game wasn't too good and ended up, drawing that game. But, that's my opinion. I think at this moment in time, I think United are better off not playing Ronaldo and having him on the bench.
What was the turning point for you when you made that decision that you feel as a Man United fan that United are better off without Ronaldo? Was it that Newcastle game, or was it before? Was it the last season?
Luckily, I obviously got to see him live this year when I went to one of the Europa games, and I could see it from the beginning of the season. It just seemed like he's just a bit off it. And then I was watching the live game. Obviously, when you watch it on TV, it's completely different to how you see a live game, so you can just concentrate always on one player. And I don't know, it just seemed a bit off. So I was just thinking maybe it's the lack of match fitness. But it's been progressing. Every week it's just been like the same thing. Obviously, he did get a great goal against Everton. But, I think obviously the age, catching up, obviously the lack of match minutes as well, that's not helping. And obviously I just didn't like the way he went about certain things the other day. Walking off 2 minutes to the game, the team's winning, the team played great. I think there should be a bit of sportsmanship, and obviously you can be unhappy, and he admitted to it. Sometimes it takes, the better of someone's emotion. But I just feel, I think it's time to, obviously just if he's not happy and United not happy having him, then, it's probably good to just, go your separate ways. He's been a legend. He'll always be a legend, and will always be regarded as, one of the great Man United players. You could easily put him in the top 3, I'd say top 2.
Top 3, top 2 United players. You're not saying he's the greatest United player of all time?
That's debatable. Me personally, I'd probably say he's probably is the greatest. But then you got George Best. You've had you've oh yeah, definitely. But then obviously you got Bobby Charlton as well.
The twins.
Rafael and Fabio weren't too bad either. But I personally think he's probably been the greatest. But obviously there's Eric Cantona as well. Who completely changed United in the 90s. When they were struggling a lot. There's so many players that United have had, but I'd easily put him comfortably. I think, as a general opinion of all United fans, they'll put him somewhere in the top 2. Me personally, I have him probably number 1. Maybe it's because I'm a bit biased because I grew up watching him. But then obviously there's George Best and Bobby Charlton that unfortunately that I haven't seen.
Philip Neville. Kidding. So I'll put that to Mikel. That hot take that Cristiano Ronaldo is not clearly the greatest United player, let alone the greatest player of all time. And
no, don't twist them out. Don't twist the words.
No.
Do not twist the words.
You put him in top 2. You put him in the top 2. You didn't say
no, I think he's comfortably there, and the rest of it's debatable. I put him as number 1, but then there's people that will say no, George Best or Bobby Charlton.
Okay, Mikel. So Cristiano Ronaldo is arguably Manchester United's greatest player. However, he has reached a point now where United are better off without him. What do you feel about that?
The Cristiano Ronaldo, when came to Manchester United back then, that was probably the best thing what United could hope for back in time, because the guy changed the mentality. No matter that he was very young, but the Ferguson already knew that this guy going to be something huge. And like lots of people, I just don't like how Manchester United fans acting about this, because they turning on really quickly what media saying. They forgetting everything. Last year he was the best player, and I don't care what some pundits saying, they're playing better without him and all this. It's just rubbish. It's just rubbish, and that's he walk off. Obviously, the greatest player will be upset about it, that he has to go 2 minutes on the pitch where he can risk injury to go to World Cup. So I'm backing him. Okay, maybe it was wrong, but like lots of people saying that Ronaldo is not bigger than club, but United is not club, is merchandise, is a brand, is not longer a club. And Ten Hag, okay, he turning on him. Rashford can score super chances. He has like recent 2 matches. He has like 9 super chances. Score nil goals. Yeah. So these are just facts. But okay, he didn't have a preseason. I agree with that. If he had a preseason, he will be banging goals. But I'm very happy as a Ronaldo fan. I'm very happy that's already Boehly doing everything. That Ronaldo will be there in January, hopefully in the Chelsea, and then we will see how he will banging goals and how United and United fans will be shamed. Hopefully this will age well what I'm talking to here, so make sure that you mark these words. But I think whatever is happening is just that United fans praising Martial, who was absolute rubbish in La Liga, where Ronaldo scored 450 goals at Real Madrid in 8 years. I don't know, but the whole team, like you saying, Mahfouz, that's a whole team playing better without him. They are rubbish. They are worried. They are scared of him. That's I have to pass Ronaldo now. No, you don't have to. Play as best as you can and pass when it's need to be passed. You understand? So, like there is lots of things. Would you agree with me if Ronaldo went to City? How many goals he will score with that squad, Mahfouz? What do you will say?
Mate, you can put any striker in the world. I'm talking from the
But
totally
you put
rubbish
Jesus
to the
there.
top
But
strikers.
Jesus
It's-
there.
But
Huh?
he bringing goals as well. But he was sitting on the bench.
But with obviously you can put any striker and they'll score in that team. There's very minimal stuff you have to do. I know, obviously, but for some reason I don't know why Pep Guardiola never played Jesus that much. I don't understand that at all. But
you know what? I think you talk about any striker in the world can go to that Man City team and will score. I don't think that's necessarily true. I
You need
think
to have ability to score goals.
yeah. So I mean, I think last season they were shown to be lacking.
No, I'm not saying they're going to score 30 goals, but they'll score goals. I mean, so that's that's not really a great comparison to put what would Ronaldo do in City.
He scored 99 goals anyway. 99 goals anyway without striker. But imagine if there was a Ronaldo and De Bruyne. De Bruyne, it was literally talking about that. That's I would like to serve Ronaldo. Imagine that. So now he's serving the Haaland tapping in. I agree. He's good goal scorer. He knows where he has to be. He's young. But I think that's Ronaldo will prove. What I'm always saying, never count off Ronaldo, because he will come and he will show to everyone like he always do. So I just
I'd agree with your argument if this was a few years back, but I think 37.
I agree with you, Mahfouz, as well. But in all honesty, Ronaldo is the player who has basically the physique and and the physique and the body and everything. He's fitter than more than 29 years old, 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? So
I know, but unfortunately, as a United fan,
you can have a pre-season. Maybe that is the main factor.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. You never know.
Somewhere else in January, he can be different. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mikel, one thing though, I have seen from Ronaldo, when he doesn't get the ball, he puts his hands up, he complains, he does that. So
he's frustrated. So as a big player,
for a young player coming in, when you see the greatest player of all time, somebody who you've looked up to, you had his poster on your wall, and you see him putting his arms up and you see him complaining, what you can do next time, you're going to want to pass to him. You don't want him to be complaining. You don't want him to be upset, even if it's on a personal level.
But I would say I would put shame on the United players, because when we seeing that they playing with Ronaldo, they are rubbish. And when they playing without Ronaldo, they trying so hard. So tell me now, where is the issue?
So that you just explained the issue is Ronaldo, then, isn't it? Obviously, because they're playing a bit differently when he's on the pitch, and then when he's not on the pitch, it's a completely different.
Mahfouz, but all right.
Okay. They're not gonna just say no. All right, he's playing today. We're not gonna play. We're gonna lose the game and things like that. That's just sometimes how it is. I know, obviously, you being a Ronaldo fan, I'm a Ronaldo fan as well. I loved him to bits. I'm a bigger United fan at the end of the day.
I know.
And I'd rather, the United have been through tough times this past 10, 11 years. And I want to see them do well. I was very happy with Ronaldo signing last year, but I thought that, I had a feeling that it would hold United back in the long run. It kind of showed.
Let's come back to the summer. Let's back to the summer. He wanted to literally go. Yeah, and if Roy Keane saying it, that he had some couple of clubs, basically clubs didn't want to pay a fee, but they would happily take him for just paying the salary. So they just should let him go and not make him struggle before the World Cup. So this is my view, Wes.
Yeah.
And,
no, I understand. I mean, Mahfouz, you mentioned that Man United have been a club in decline. I mean, the thing for me, looking from the outside, is that when Ronaldo signed, it seemed that Man United fans felt that all the problems had been solved. Is this a bit of did you put too much hope in Ronaldo changing everything? Because it was before that, you know, everybody knew that Man United, you know, we're not going to finish the top four, talking about the beginning of last season. And suddenly Ronaldo signed, there's a hope that you might even, you know, win the Premier League. So, you know, did you guys, you know, overhype where United were? And like, you know, Ronaldo was a bit of a sticking plaster on that problem. And even now, even if Ronaldo goes, are you still going to have those problems? Or do you think now it's a case of you've got everything in place to build back? Or are those deep-rooted problems still there? For me, I think some of those deep-rooted problems are still there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. You know, that last year, I think it was more for the nostalgia reason. You know, obviously, one greatest player is coming back to United, but I did know deep down inside that I thought, you know what, you know, as fantastic of a player he is, you know, if he gives us a couple of great seasons, in a way, it will still hold us back because we need a striker that will be there for about, you know, 6-7 years solid.
But you've not had that for a long time.
Huh?
You've not had that. You've not had like a talisman.
Yeah, so before that, we've had Cavani.
For a very long time.
Before that, we've had Cavani, and then so it's like, you know, they keep on signing players.
Cavani was a guy, you know, he wasn't a guy peaking. He was a guy that had already peaked.
Yeah. So that's the issue.
Worker. Like if he didn't have injuries, I think Cavani would be fantastic.
So it's like, yeah, it was one of those things where like, okay, you know, he might paper over some of the crack. I didn't have any hope with Solskjaer, and that kind of, you know, that kind of worked out the way it did. And, you know, ultimately he'll probably end up leaving January. You know, he'll 100% be gone by next summer. And then, you know, obviously there's still that issue. We need a striker. You know, you can't do it with Marcus Rashford. He could show in the last few games that he can't, like, you know, like a lot of chances, you know, he should bury them, and he hasn't. And then, you know, obviously he has his, I don't know if it's attitude problem or it's just his mentality, where he, you know, disappears for suddenly like for about 5 games and then suddenly comes back. Then you got Martial with his injury record this year. It's just been ridiculous, even though he has scored when he has played or he has assisted. But, you know, ultimately we do need a striker. So that's the issue right there. We 100% United need a striker. And obviously overall in general, United will never, ever, ever be fixed under the Glazers. They are the ultimate root problem of United. And when they do finally go, then you can, you know, obviously you can hope United can, you know, go places if a decent owner comes in that looks at the bigger football project rather than, you know, obviously making, you know, pocket money every season and, you know, not spending their own money. It's just putting in the club's profit into it, not fixing the stadiums. So ultimately, you know, United will never be back to where it is. You know, in my eyes, they'll never be where they are until the Glazers go, unfortunately. But, you know, Erik ten Hag, I think, is a fantastic manager. You know, he's got great plans. And, you know, obviously, if they can get someone above him in terms of like an Edwin van der Sar or a good, you know, technical director, I think, you know, they could do well on the pitch.
Like an Edu, basically.
Yeah, well, apparently there's been rumours I've been reading of like, you know, other clubs do want Edu. They've been impressed by what he's done. But, you know, he's looking to stay at Arsenal. But, you know, you can see if you put a good process in and just like try and stick to it, it eventually works out, which, you know, looking like Arsenal are doing quite well this year, you know, other than the loss against United and the draw, they're looking like a solid team. Like Xhaka has completely done a 180. I don't know, you know, obviously as an ex-Arsenal fan, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I don't follow Arsenal as I used to, and I've been on record to say that I think there is the possibility that all of this is a bit of a flash in the pan, and I may be totally wrong. I mean, Xhaka, actually, his left foot. I remember when I used to follow Arsenal a lot more. He was very, very technically gifted, and there was like a clip that I watched whereby it was him, Ozil, and someone else, and they were trying a technical challenge, and Xhaka's left foot was actually better than anybody's left foot. So he's always had the technical ability. It's just for him, it's been a question about temperament, and you know, he seems to have solved that, and you know, good on him, I think. Coming to my brother as a Liverpool fan, you must be rubbing your hands with glee the fact that United and United fans seem to be split about this, or that they seem to be in a bit of a pickle. What do you think? I suppose you want Ronaldo to stay for as long as possible.
So as a Liverpool fan, you know, I've been enjoying the last 10 years of watching Man United from the sidelines, watching the Glazers from the inside take out United. And now, unfortunately, with the likes of my cousin Mahfouz and Gary Neville letting the secrets out, it looks like the whole world will soon suddenly try and turn on the Glazers. And get them removed from United. I think I think the thing that we've not really spoken about was Ronaldo signing for United. There was a little bit of desperation about that for me, because there was a rumor that he was going to go to Man City. And a few players, you know, some of the ex-Man United players came out and said, oh, no, we can't have that. And apparently, you know, I think there's some rumors that Alex Ferguson talked him out of it and Rio Ferdinand talked him out of it. So I think Man United, they probably were interested in him. But as soon as, it's like, you know, sometimes when you see, when we buy sports cards and stuff, suddenly you see someone else bidding alongside you, or suddenly, you know, there's a few offers made on a card and you want that more. I think there's definitely an element of that. Everyone spoke about how Ronaldo will fit into United's team. You know, whether Ronaldo would have what it takes to be a top player in the modern Premier League. You know, everyone knew that he was not going to press. But I suppose what's been evident to see is that with Ronaldo in the team, no manager, be it Solskjaer and so far Ten Hag, haven't found a system that accommodates him. And perhaps that's to do with management, and perhaps it's to do with Ronaldo and the aura that he brings and his own mentality that all the play should be through him. And I suspect the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. So yes, you know, watching from the sideline, seeing the problems posed by Cristiano Ronaldo as an opposition fan, you know, it's not something that I'm losing sleep over. But it is disappointing to see, you know, the decline, you know, the so-called or the perceived decline of a top player, one of the best players in the history of the Premier League. His mentality, his professionalism, all being called into action, and him having to release these statements, which, you know, we've all probably seen in the media. Time will tell the story what happens. I feel that Ronaldo, as Mikel has said, you know, he doesn't really take kindly to criticism, and the World Cup is coming, most likely his last ever World Cup. And I feel, again, we'll have to timestamp this on YouTube, that, you know, Ronaldo will put on a performance and suddenly he will be a wanted man again. That's what I think. Let's see what happens. And talking about YouTube, my brother Rush went into the introduction without saying, please give us a like and a subscribe. So please do that. And comments as well, please.
Yeah, just on the comments, we've had some comments from UK Baller Cards, Doug Jones, reading them, really appreciate them.
Shout out, Doug.
So thank you for commenting. It's good to know that we've got at least one listener. With the recent news, it does seem like it is just the one listener, but we're having a good time. We'll keep going. I mean, I think we're probably halfway through, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I'll move it on a little bit to perhaps some hobby-related content. I'm not sure if you guys have seen. So there's a big American breaking service called Backyard Breaks, and they have hit 4 massive cards out of 4 different releases, all from Panini. So a gentleman called Eric Whitebeck did the maths and the probabilities, and he found it to be vanishingly impossible to hit those 4 big cards. So the suggestion is Panini may be seeding the biggest breaker in America, with over 100,000 Instagram followers, these massive cases. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Is it possible? Is it happening? Is it just a case of being the biggest breaker, the breaking the most product? I'll start with Mikel. I know you've got some thoughts about this. Backyard Breaks and Panini, are they being seeded?
Look, I think it's very possible. As we speak about Panini, we have to mention Topps as well, because every single big card is opened in China.
Yeah, that's what it looks like on Instagram. I mean, for sure, you know what you're saying, Mikel. When you look at Instagram, all the big hits seem to be from Chinese account holders.
So, you know, I think that this backdoorings is going on probably a really long time. Obviously, you can't tell they're ripping apparently a lot, but it's really, you know, the odds are just impossible.
So
The break the odds which one are like that is just impossible. And if you're talking about these 100,000 followers and all these kind of things, and I know that people, you know, breaking and trying lags and, you know, and all these kind of things, and then just suddenly they hitting all the biggest hits. I think it's very possible. It's very easy to see Panini might do that. I saw a couple of videos, you know. I think as you sent me two brothers, they was ripping some crazy expensive cases, and obviously the guy is not going to find some rubbish player inside, and was there LeBron James. So everything it's you know, it's obviously is we can't say, we just talking about this, but I think there is a possibility. I would call it 50-50, maybe 60-40. That's this happening. I think that's this happening with the tops. But you know, they're doing favor, and them doing their favor. So they're making them popular.
Yeah, it's very good publicity, isn't it?
Yeah. So the publicity and all this, I think, you know, Eric, you done good job. Don't listen, haters. You know, I think that's he done it nicely there, you know. And no matter that they ripping, but when he was saying that they have to rip of I don't know how many million of wax,
$40 million.
Yeah.
Eric.
It's just the ridiculous, and it's just nonsense. And I'm sure that they are sponsored by Panini as well, so they don't need to pay for that wax. So the wax might be just as pushed to them as a gift, you know.
I mean, coming to my brother, I mean, and parallels from the sneaker world, where you know, seeding is something which has happened. I mean, it's not illegal in some sense, you know, to promote something, but, you know, what do you think about this as a consumer? What do you think about this as a marketing technique and the legalities around it? Whether it's sneakers, always the top influencers getting the top sneakers, or the top breakers getting the top hits. You know, if you were running these big companies, you know, what would you be doing? And, you know, what are your thoughts around that?
So, we'll try and link Eric's tweet in the YouTube description, but
technical now.
We'll see how our technical abilities allow for that to happen. But he actually done, you know, a fairly robust mathematical calculation. He actually even put in a p-value of 0.05. Now, I know my brother and I, we have some sort of understanding of this, and Mahfouz and Mikel may as well. But, you know, this is a robust calculation that shows the chances of them pulling these cards are vanishingly small. We're talking less than 1%. And then obviously they pull the cards, as Mikel have said. What my brother asked me is, what do I feel about it? Well, in terms of the legality, there's no, as far as I know, there's no law that says a company cannot seed its top product. But the point is, how is it being advertised? Are Panini, Topps, Nike, or whoever advertising their product as everyone that's a consumer that has the money to pay for the product has a fair chance of getting this card? Because if they are, then they're not advertising appropriately. You know, in the words of another manufacturer, that it does not do what it says on the tin, because all of us we give our money, and we want the chance, although we know it's rare, of pulling, you know, these huge cards. Yet, if it is a case that no matter how much money we put in, no matter how much wax we buy or cards we buy, we've got 0% chance of pulling these cards, it does nothing but leave a bitter taste in your mouth. And the same with, you know, my brother mentioned the drawing parallels in the sneaker world. I mean, the trophy room sneakers that was sold I think it's about 12 months ago,
It
where
was heavily backdoor.
yeah, I mean, I don't think a single pair hit retail. And there was there was a recent podcast which I didn't finish listening to actually, where one of the guys broke it. But I mean, you know, not mentioning names, but you know, the major players involved in that sneaker basically got all the pairs and sold them for resale. In one way, you can argue, you know, why shouldn't they? But the other way is like, as a you know, so-called sneakerhead, someone that's in the community, someone that's interested in the community, someone that's interested in the hobby. If I have, you know, the $200 or, you know, £200, however much it costs to buy these sneakers or trainers, I should be able to buy it. So yeah, it's disappointing and seems unfair to me.
Yeah, like when you're talking about the sneakers, yeah, now we releasing Jordan 1s as well, Lost and Found, and that is going to be heavily backdoored. There is already massive backdooring going on. So yeah, and yeah, I completely agree with Mustafi's on the false advertising. Is heavily false advertising by Tops, as we saw. Messi Patch 101 wasn't with Barcelona logo, it was just some clean red patch, which one was absolutely rubbish.
Mahfouz, I'll ask a slightly different question for you. Let's say you're a senior product guy at either Nike or Tops or Panini, and you've got the power, you're in the room with the product alone. Nobody's going to know what you do with it. Do you do the quick hit and make $500,000, $700,000, $1 million and backdoor the product? Or do you be as fair as possible, you know, let everybody have a fair chance, you know, whether you've got the product in hand or whether you're the IT guy who can, you know, let whoever you want into the queue to buy it. Nobody would know, and you're not you know, a managing director, you're not a senior guy whereby you've got that manager, where you've got that ownership responsibility, but you're just a guy quite high up. You know, do you take that risk, like a one-off risk for a massive payday, and you know, you can do it anonymously? What do you do?
Well, you with that question, you're putting me in a position of, you know, being, you know, it's a very dishonest thing to do, to be fair, isn't it? I don't know. It's, for me, you know, unfortunately, there's corruption everywhere, you know, from, you know, as Mikhail said, you know, backdooring trainers to, you know, politics to, you know, every little thing. And that's just the world we live in. Yourself asking me a question where I do something for like a £2 million payday, £1.5 million payday, I could easily say to you now, no, because, you know, I haven't got that proposal in front of me. But then if someone did actually put me, I could think completely differently. But in terms of obviously one,
the question is that, you know, when you've got that person who's earning 40 grand a year and they've got this thing and they know that this product's really hot, they could seed it to seed it to whichever breaker, they could seed the sneaker, they could backdoor it essentially, whatever the product, and make a huge amount of money. Change their life, change their family's life, you know, not taking you out of it, because obviously you're in a public place. You know, you're not going to say that you're going to do something illegal. But, you know, most people, I think, what I'm getting at, would find it hard to resist.
No, of course. No, of course. You're asking if someone that's probably on like 30, 40,000 pounds, dollars, would they do it? You know, I could probably see them because it's a life-changing amount. But what was the trophy room? The scandal. It was there was rumors of Michael Jordan's own son backdooring them himself. Are you telling me that someone that
he owns trophy rooms? So
let's make it clear. These are alleged rumors.
No, that's what I'm saying. Allegedly. If I didn't mention that, allegedly, you know, and he was backdooring them. And this is someone you're talking about, a son of a multi-billionaire, and he's backdooring it, which, you know, obviously doesn't need to, apparently. So, you know, that's the rumor, you know, so I could easily see someone.
That's why he done it.
I could easily see someone, obviously, if they were going to get a life-changing amount, that they would do it. And we're living, at this moment in time. Obviously, there's so much issues in the world, and people are struggling to feed, pay bills and stuff. So if someone did offer a ludicrous amount that would change their life for a year, for a couple of years, or even completely life-changing, then I could see them doing it. And we got multi-millionaires doing it as well, who don't need to. I'm not saying obviously specifying Michael Jordan's son, but there are openly you'll see it, whether it's in politics or
I think
working life.
I think the good thing about this is that this probably always happened.
Yeah.
And when it was in the 90s, for instance, there wasn't internet. It would be just literally a guy in a warehouse, literally backdooring it. That's where the name came from. But now I think these things do come out. You do get people that spend hours and hours researching what the probability is. You do get, everybody's got a voice with their own social media. And there is public opinion whereby if somebody has done something dodgy, and, I think it's happened in cards actually, whereby the FBI does get involved, where things get very, very dodgy. So I think it was a bit of a trick question. I don't think you're ever going to have a chance where you can do something and not leave some sort of trail. You call a paper trail. It's not going to be a paper trail, but there will be some evidence of someone doing something wrong, regardless of how anonymous you think it is. So, if there is something going on, it might not come out right now, but, I do believe that these people, if bad things have been done, will eventually get caught.
I just want to mention as well, I think my brother sent me is it an Instagram post of Panini. There was a Panini printing plate, and on top of that was the ratio where this card should be put, like a little sticky note or something. So obviously that could be placed for the Instagram photo, but it looks like, as my brother says, these things are being documented, and we're getting more and more evidence of these things taking place.
Yeah, cool. I think that probably brings us to the end of the episode. So I would like to thank everybody who has stayed so far. And also a reminder that I forgot to say in the beginnings, like, subscribe, comment, share, DM, write to us, let us know what you're thinking of the podcast.
Improvements we can make.
Yep, improvements we can make, what we can do better, what topics you'd like us to discuss. It's something that we continue to enjoy doing, regardless to some extent of how people are following or not. Primarily, it's something that the discussions that we have behind the scenes and the discussions that we'll continue to have, and we're thankful that we can share this with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.